Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're reacting to how good was Michael Jordan actually. I started watching basketball in 2010. I'm a diehard Kobe and LeBron fan, and I just want to be more educated in the past, man. I want to know how good Michael Jordan actually was. I'm open-minded, dude. I want to know, I want to learn, I want to become a historian of the game. So if you're going to comment, hey, yo, you a dumb LeBron fan, don't do it. We're here to learn, man. We're here to have fun. We're here to have a good time, man. So how good was Michael Jordan actually? I don't know, man. I've watched a few highlight reels of his because I never really did a deep dive in my life, and now I'm starting that, and people told me to watch this one. So let's check it out, man. I'm excited for it. Hop right into it.
Michael Jordan scored 50 points or more in the playoffs 8 times, more than Kobe, KD, LeBron, and Wilt combined. Jordan also had the most 40-point playoff games, more than Kareem, AI, Steph, and D-Wade put together. In fact, MJ is the only player in NBA history who had more 40-point career games than games where he scored less than 20 points.
That doesn't even compute with me. That's crazy.
Jordan's godlike aura, brutal trash talk, and physical dominance put fear in opponents' hearts. And while they had to get a good night's sleep before facing the Bulls, Jordan could drink and smoke cigars before the game and still drop 40.
Wow.
His airness made it look easy, and he proved it when the games were on the line.
Game on the line, who would take the last shot? Me.
28 times Jordan scored the game-winning shot, including 7 game winners in the playoffs. And MJ wasn't just a scorer. He had the most first-team all-defense selections ever with 9. He's the all-time blocks leader by a guard and has the most seasons with over 200 steals, with 6. In 1989, when the Bulls lost their starting point guard, Coach Doug Collins made Jordan play the point, and he notched 10 triple-doubles in 11 games, averaging...
Quick question on the defensive stuff. Don't get mad at me. I'm asking genuinely. I heard that a lot of people back in that day were giving Jordan steals and rebounds that didn't actually happen at home games. And then on the road games, his steals were cut in like half because the road teams weren't giving him the same amount. So, like, what's going on there? Was it rigged? Was it not? Y'all tell me.
30 points, 11 assists, and 9.5 rebounds per game. Between 1991 and 1996, MJ played 13 consecutive playoff series where he averaged more than 30 points per game, retiring with 6 rings, 5 MVPs, and a 6-0 record in the final. But despite his seemingly invincible legacy, Jordan did have some weaknesses. MJ led the NBA in field goal attempts 9 times during his 13 years in Chicago, and he was a bit of a ball hog, especially in his early career. Jordan also had some bad playoff games, and he certainly wasn't the most pleasant teammate. So, how good was Michael Jordan actually?
I don't know.
Is he really the GOAT?
Probably.
To answer that, we'll start with his genetics and God-given talent. Michael Jordan was supposed to be short. Nobody in his family was taller than 5'9", and as a high school sophomore, Michael was famously cut from his varsity basketball team because he was only 5'11".
It sounds sad, but it's true.
However, the Jordans were blessed with supreme athleticism. Just look at Michael's older brother Larry, who could dunk at 5'8". So when an unexpected growth spurt pushed Michael to 6'6", he became unstoppable. By the end of his high school career, Jordan was averaging 27 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. But despite his unreal speed and athleticism, young MJ was still an unpolished gem because he really only played 2 years of high school basketball. As a freshman at UNC, MJ averaged a modest 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists per game. He was the 3rd leading scorer
That's surprising to me.
on the team behind James Worthy and Sam Perkins, and his fundamentals, ball handling, and confidence weren't yet at a super high level. But all that changed in the 1982 NCAA Finals, when Michael hit a game-winning shot against Patrick Ewing, winning the national championship.
Against Pat Ewing is crazy.
18. Shot. Jordan. North Carolina has won the 1982 NCAA championship.
Jordan said this was the biggest turning point of his career because after that, his confidence was through the roof.
That turned my name from Mike to Michael Jordan. It gave me the confidence that I needed to start to excel at the game of basketball.
I love that, dude. The moment you know you became who you are. Pat Ewing, if you just knew, you could have stopped this man and probably got a chip at one point. But he didn't know, man. Nobody knew. Not even Michael knew until he hit that shot. Love that story.
In the next 2 seasons, Jordan continued his basketball education under Dean Smith and became a complete player. He averaged 20 points per game,
There we
was
go.
a consensus first-team All-American, and as a junior in 1984, he was named Collegiate Player of the Year.
Dude, what a jump from 13 PPGs to 20 and Player of the Year. Oh my gosh, I muted it like a dummy.
Career alone, in 1984, he was named Collegiate Player of the Year. But based on his college career alone, it was hard to predict that Jordan would reach the pinnacle of the NBA. After all, many great players who came before Michael had far better college careers, including Kareem, Magic, Bird, Bill Walton, Bill Russell, Oscar Robertson, David Thompson, Pete Maravich, and a few others.
Imagine being able to build anything.
Imagine
just by
shutting
thinking
up and let me learn more about Michael Jordan.
44.
Because of his relatively modest numbers in college, and because the 80s were the era of the big men, Jordan was selected 3rd in the 1984 NBA draft,
Duh.
behind centers Hakeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie.
Look, man, I don't know much about Sam Bowie. I don't even know what his career shaped out to be, but that would break my heart if I had a chance to pick Michael. Look, Hakeem was good, and you won a couple chips because of him, so Houston maybe isn't that tore up about it, although they probably are. But the Sam...
He's only 6'6", so how much can he really do?
We wish he were 7'1", but he isn't.
However, it took just 2 practices for the Bulls coach to call the general manager and say, "You didn't mess up the draft this time."
For the first day in practice, my mentality was whoever is the team leader on that team, I'm going after him. And I'm not going to do it with my voice because I had no voice. I have to do it with the way that I play.
Facts.
When the season started,
Love
it took
that.
Jordan only 3 games to score over 30 and 9 games to eclipse 40. By the end of the first month, it was obvious that Jordan was supposed to be the first overall pick. While Olajuwon looked like a star, Jordan was more like a supernova because there was nobody in the league faster than him. It seemed almost unfair how he blew past opponents with just a single step who had no answer for his drives to the basket. On top of his speed, Jordan was also the most athletic player in the NBA, with an unmatched vertical jump and hang time. When he drove to the cup, it looked like he was a fighter jet, and his quickness served as a runway for his vertical takeoff. When MJ raised up for a jump shot, it seemed like nobody was ever guarding him, because the laws of gravity didn't seem to apply to Michael. Defenders could jump at the same time, but as they would inevitably fall down, Jordan would continue to float in the air and shoot completely unbothered.
That's so crazy to me because there are a few highlights where he's shooting, and I'm like, why is that not better contested? But they're right. They're just landing before he actually gets the shot off, which is just such an overpowered move. Big shout out to MJ's vert like that. Like, that vertical is crazy.
Transition been from college to the NBA?
Well, I think it's been pretty easy.
Thanks to his high-flying feats and insane dunks, Jordan quickly became the most popular player in the NBA. So it only made sense that in 1986, he
Was he allowed to play in a chain?
quickly became the most popular player in the NBA. So it
Was he allowed to play with jewelry back in the day? What's going on?
only made sense that in 1986, he got voted to the All-Star game, despite playing just 3 games up to that point due to an ankle injury. And that same year, in the playoffs, he set a playoff scoring record with 63 points against Boston.
But it was an incredible playoff performance. I've never seen it before, and I had never seen it after. That wasn't Michael Jordan out there. It was God disguised as Michael Jordan.
To drop that many points that young against a team, were they the champions of that year? Dumb, that's stupid, man. That's crazy. That's crazy, man.
As if MJ wasn't doing enough already, in 1987, MJ led the NBA in scoring with 37 points per game, which was and remains the 5th best scoring output ever.
Does somebody know who was second place that year? 37 Michael, who was second place?
Behind only Wilt's insane scoring feats of the early 1960s.
I just want the franchise and Chicago Bulls to be respected as a team. It's very hard for something like that to happen.
It happened, bro.
But it's not impossible.
It happened,
Meanwhile,
bro.
Jordan was miserable. Despite all the fame and individual accolades, he was always losing. In his first 3 seasons, MJ only won 1 playoff game, despite being the best player in the league. But after the Bulls GM Jerry Krause drafted Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen, his life would change forever. In 1988, MJ averaged 35 points on 54% shooting,
Crazy.
with 6 rebounds and 6 assists, winning his first career MVP.
How many MVPs did he win? Like 5? He probably should have had like 8 or 9.
Because he also led the NBA in steals with 3.2 plus 1.6 blocks per game, Jordan won the Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay, This is where I've heard the rumor. Y'all tell me if it's a load of crap.
MVP, because he also led the NBA in steals with 3.2
3.2 steals is crazy.
plus 1.6.
1.6 blocks is crazy. Is this legitimate, or were the numbers getting fudged back in the day? I'm not claiming it. That's a rumor I heard. And I'm just curious if y'all have done the research.
Blocks per game, Jordan won the Defensive Player of the Year. And he is still one of only 5 players ever to win Defensive Player of the Year and MVP. And after the 1988 dunk contest against Dominique Wilkins, which is considered by many to be the best of all time, some people already started calling him the best player they have ever seen.
That's got to be a 50.
But none of that mattered, because the most important thing to Jordan was winning. And now with Pippen and Grant on the team, the Bulls had their first 50-win season since 1974.
Yeah.
Chicago then finally advanced in the playoffs, winning the first round over the Cavaliers, with MJ averaging an insane 45 points per game. However, in the second round,
how do you average 45 in a series? What?
MJ averaging an insane 45 points per game. However, in the second round, a more experienced Pistons team defeated the Bulls pretty easily, 4-1.
Whoa.
It was proof that individual greatness doesn't translate to playoff wins, a lesson Jordan had yet to learn. But that didn't make him any less entertaining to watch. In the 1989 season, Jordan hit his first legendary shot in the NBA, simply known as the shot.
A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win!
Iconic.
Cleveland Cavaliers!
In the second round, the Bulls got past the Knicks.
Notice how they said upset. That means they were the underdogs in that series.
But they again fell victim to the Pistons, who bullied Jordan with their physicality. And in 1990, it was more of the same. MJ led the NBA in scoring and steals. He was super efficient, but the team couldn't get over the hump and get past the Detroit Pistons for a third consecutive year.
Wow.
In his first 6 years in the league,
do y'all think the Pistons made Jordan who he is? Do you think if he didn't have that roadblock, he wouldn't have overcome to be the GOAT? Like, what do y'all think right there? Like, I'm genuinely curious if y'all give the Pistons any credit there.
MJ had won 5 playoff series and lost 6, with an overall playoff record of 25 wins and 29 losses.
Tough.
So after that third loss to the Pistons, the media started doubting Jordan, questioning his ability to play team basketball, and wondering if he was only concerned about himself and his numbers. And in a way, they were right. In the 80s, he was often trying to score out of double or even triple teams, ignoring his wide-open teammates. In 1989, he was a capable passer, averaging a career-high 8 dimes per game.
Wow.
But Jordan always looked to score first and pass second. And he wasn't like Magic, Jokic, or Doncic, who manipulate defenses with their eyes and fake defenders into wrong coverages. Jordan's passing was more reactive. He got rid of the ball only when he saw that somebody was wide open. And since Jordan was like a black hole that sucked all the defensive attention, when he did opt to pass, it was usually for an easy dunk. But despite MJ's ridiculous scoring numbers, the Bulls' offense was always average during the 80s, and they were actually at their best in 1986, when Mike
apparently can go from 0 to a complete site in just a single prompt.
Brother, who are you?
Of the season due to an actually at their best in 1986, when Mike missed 80% of the season due to an ankle injury. It wasn't until 1990, the arrival of Phil Jackson and the emergence of Scottie Pippen, that the Bulls' offense cracked the top 5 in the NBA.
Let's go.
Pippen's passing and pushing the ball in the open court created lots of
Should I check out Pippen highlights too?
Space for Jordan, who could finally trust someone else to make plays for him consistently. But Pippen's value was maybe even more pronounced on the defensive end. With an enormous wingspan, agility, and a motor to cover multiple players on one possession, Scottie was just what Michael was missing. Pip's presence allowed Michael to play free safety on defense, jump into passing lanes for steals, and he didn't need to waste his energy guarding the best opposing player, because Scottie usually did that. And after agonizing defeats against the Pistons, MJ decided to bulk up, which was unprecedented at the time. Players didn't spend much time in the gym, and if you look at all the players in the 80s, they looked lean, but hardly anyone was super muscular. So when MJ returned for the 1991 season, he was still super quick, athletic, and could contort his body in the air like no one else. But this time around, he was also much stronger, which allowed him to absorb contact better and bully smaller players with his size. What also helped Michael was the arrival of coaches Phil Jackson and Tex Winter, who instituted the triangle offense, which was based on cutting in open spaces and playmaking out of the post. If executed properly, the triangle was believed to be the most optimal offense to optimize spacing. MJ didn't have to bring up the ball all the time and force his shots, and he was receiving the ball closer to the basket, where he'd bully smaller defenders and dominate like never before. Even though Jordan was phenomenal from the moment he stepped into the NBA, in 1991, he was at his best, and he won his second MVP award. The 91 Bulls.
So, homie entered the league, and how many seasons went by before he won his second MVP? That don't feel right to me. That really don't feel right to me.
Bulls had the best offense in the NBA, and they crushed the opposition in the Eastern Conference. They swept the Knicks, beat the 76ers in 5, and then finally got their revenge against the Pistons. This time, it wasn't even close, as Detroit was on the decline after 3 straight NBA Finals trips, while the Bulls were ascending. MJ swept Isaiah and the Pistons, who famously left before the final buzzer of Game 4, refusing to shake the Bulls' hands.
Crazy.
We finally got over the hump of the loser's mentality. We were starting to become a winning franchise. And, you know, this guy was a limit.
But
question for people who watched us back in the day, was that Pistons team that got beat in 91 nearly as good as the 3 previous years, or were they like very clearly on the decline? Genuinely curious if he beat them while they were still at their best, or if it was like they were not going to win regardless. You know what I'm saying?
in the NBA Finals, another legend awaited, Magic Johnson. And it seemed like the 5-time NBA champion still had the upper hand when the Lakers defeated the Bulls at home in Game 1. That is, until Phil Jackson made the adjustment to have Pippen guard Magic, which turned the series around. And in Game 2, Jordan dazzled the world with another iconic move, switching hands mid-air to score an acrobatic layup.
Iconic, man.
The Bulls won the next 4 games, and at last, the championship. Jordan's hunger for an NBA ring was finally satisfied. Throughout the playoffs, MJ averaged 31 points, 8.5 assists, 6.5 rebounds, 2.5 steals, and 1.5 blocks.
That's ridiculous, man. Hey, yo, I'm going to the store real quick, buy some flowers to give to Michael Jordan, because that's ridiculous, man. It feels like night and day when they talk about him in the 80s and the narrative around him in the 80s. Can't get over the hump. Too small versus the Pistons. Not going to do it. And then in the 90s, he's like, I'm bigger, I'm stronger. Oh my gosh, man. These stats are ridiculous.
Shooting a career-high 56% from the field.
Jordan is the most talented player in the NBA, by far.
Were the Lakers favored in this series or no? Like, were they past their prime? Because I didn't see Kareem out there. Or was it still like, nah, Lakers still got this? I'm curious what the narrative was back then.
And the 1992 season was a continuation of peak form for Jordan and the Bulls. Another scoring title with super efficient shooting, first-team all-defense, and another MVP for his...
I feel like I shouldn't be wearing this beanie right now, considering the Lakers just got busted up by the Bulls.
Airness. The Bulls once again had the best offense in the NBA and won a franchise record 67 games. Chicago reached the finals against the Trailblazers, and the media pushed the narrative that Clyde Drexler was better than Jordan, because Jordan is not a good outside shooter. So MJ responded by nailing 6 threes and 35 points in the first half of Game 1.
First half?
Which was a finals record for both threes and points and a half, in what will forever be remembered as the Shrug Game. And even though Portland tied the series at 2 apiece, the Bulls were just too good. And they won the series in 6, with MJ averaging 36 points in the finals. After the second...
Okay, this narrative... Because, like, y'all tell me, okay, he beat Clyde Drexler. Clyde Drexler, to me, is not one of those names I hear very often in the history books. But the fact that the narrative is what's important here. The fact that people believed he was better because he could shoot from farther out. And Jordan said, watch this, I'm going to drain 6 3-pointers and drop 35 at the half. Is hilarious. And then he hit him with the shrug. That's crazy, dude. I love that. I'm obsessed with that story. I didn't know that story. I love that, dude. I've seen the shrug. I didn't know the context.
Finals and the Dream Team experience in Barcelona, Pippen and Jordan came into the 93 season with an empty tank. The Bulls weren't as dominant in the regular season. But even though he was tired, MJ still led the NBA in scoring, which was his 7th scoring title in a row. And he also led the league in steals. Chicago made it.
Okay, this might be controversial and it might make people click off the video, but I want to have a real conversation about it, so don't just spam something hateful in the comments. The scoring titles, is it that impressive to you guys, considering that he was shooting the most field goals, making and missing the most field goals out of anyone in the league at that time? Or is it still impressive that he got them? Because to me, it's impressive that he got them, but it's like, is it that crazy? Like, what do you guys hold this up against? Like, is it as impressive as getting an All-Star nod or an All-NBA nod? Or is it more impressive to get, like, I don't know, the rebound title or the assist title? Because you can't control those as much. But with shooting, like, you can control how much you shoot the ball if you shoot the most. So I don't know. I want to start a narrative about it, a conversation, because I'm genuinely curious about people's opinions. Is 10 scoring titles that impressive? I think so. But also, is it expected when you're an amazing shooter and you shoot the most field goal attempts out of everyone? I'm just curious, man.
To a 3rd consecutive finals, where they faced league MVP Charles Barkley and the Phoenix Suns, the best team in the regular season. Barkley was also the best player on the Dream Team, and when he won the MVP, many people believed that he could be an even better player than Michael, which pissed off Jordan. But because of the Suns' inexperience and Barkley's nasty elbow injury, the Bulls won the first 2 games on the road, and it seemed like it would be smooth sailing to the next title. However, the Suns weren't going away that easily. They won games 3 and 5 in Chicago, and they could have won game 4 too, if it wasn't for Jordan.
That motherfucker would not let me win that game.
Who buried the Suns with 55 points, the 2nd highest scoring game in NBA Finals history.
Yeah, I've never heard of someone scoring that high in the finals.
And Michael just outplayed me. That was probably the first time in my life that I felt like there was a better basketball player in the world than me, to be honest with you.
Wow.
After 5 games, it was 3-2 for the Bulls, but the remaining 2 games were to be played in Arizona. In Game 6, the Suns had the lead throughout the 4th quarter, but Jordan kept the Bulls in the game, and everybody expected Jordan to take the final shot to tie the game. But MJ wasn't the same stubborn player as before, and he gave up the ball early to set up an open shot for John Paxson.
Wow. The growth mentality there of people have always been calling me a ball hog. I'm going to pass in the biggest moment of the finals for us to win it. It's good basketball, man. Also, who keeps making these narratives that like every year it's like Clyde's better than him. The Lakers are better. Barkley's better. Like, why y'all keep creating these narratives? Like, I don't know, man. It's just weird to me that was the mindset back then when Michael Jeffrey Jordan existed. But I guess it's easier to say that in hindsight when you know that he won. But that's interesting that people thought Barkley was better on the Dream Team and better overall with that MVP. Didn't know that. Good context to know.
That was it. A 3-peat, and MJ's legacy was set. Jordan finished the 93 finals with averages of 41, 8, and 6 on 51% shooting and 40% from 3.
Women riders can now request women drivers
Uber,
with women preferences.
Nobody asked. Literally nobody asked.
You don't know what an AI work management platform?
Am I like...
Here's 3 new AI...
And this wasn't even his best playoff series statistically. MJ was on the top of his game, and his basketball IQ, winning mentality, and physical dominance all synced in perfect harmony. Jordan showed his otherworldly ability to beat an opponent one-on-one, separate double teams, attack the rim, but also to find open teammates. If we compare the 1993 Jordan to his early NBA years, the growth was evident. When it was needed, he was pressing full court defensively. When nobody could score, he recognized it and carried the Bulls. And when he got doubled, he gave up the ball without trying to be a hero. In terms of basketball skills, Jordan was physically a much stronger player who became a master of footwork and post-up game. When he reached the desired position with his back to the basket, he'd turn and stay in the air for what felt like an hour longer than his opponent. only to hit a patented turnaround jumper clean as a whistle. The memories of anyone doubting him were long forgotten. Everybody knew he was the best player alive, and many believed after that three-peat, he was already the best of all time. My love for this game is strong. I'm going to be here as long as my love is strong, Jordan told reporters after the finals in a champagne-soaked locker room. However, just 1 month later, his father was killed, and Jordan retired from basketball for a year and a half.
Wow.
The love for basketball was put on hold.
I had him for 32 years, you know, and he taught me a lot in 32 years. You know how many kids get that opportunity? Very few. You know, in today's society, get the chance to spend that much time with their parents and get that type of influence.
18 months and a stint in minor league baseball later.
Dude, I genuinely, like, I can't imagine. I haven't lost my dad yet. I haven't lost my mom either. But I can't imagine the mental drainage that has on you. As he said it, man, 32 years is a blessing. That's more than probably a lot of people get. But I understand the desire to want to move on and try something different for a little bit. But I am curious what would have happened versus Hakeem and those two, because they were drafted together. Hakeem was drafted over him. That probably would have been like, I take that personally kind of meme. I've been seeing that meme go around. But yeah, dude, that would have been cool to see MJ and Hakeem play in the finals. But I respect the fact that he took a break.
And the itch for the game became too strong. So Jordan released arguably the most famous two-word press release of all time.
It came in a two-word statement, which is now just begging to have a Nike campaign built around it. Quote unquote,
I'm back.
And it didn't take Jordan too much time to show that he was still the god of basketball. In just the 5th game after his return, he poured in 55 points against the Knicks in the infamous double nickel game. But overall, MJ struggled with his shot, shooting a career-low 41% from the field. And it turned out that playing baseball for a year and a half took a bite out of his greatness. Even the best players need to practice. And in the second round...
That's actually a cool experiment. Like, the fact that it messed with his... Because he was above 50% every year. The fact that playing baseball for a year and a half changed his shot that much shows you how much they have to put in every day to keep that rhythm going.
Down to the playoffs against Orlando, things didn't go according to plan. Even though Michael averaged 31 points on 48% shooting, the Bulls weren't as strong inside. Horace Grant, who used to be their starting power forward, was now playing for Orlando. And together with a young Shaq, the Magic simply outmuscled the Bulls in the paint. Many people will say the Bulls lost in '95 because Jordan wasn't in peak form after his baseball hiatus. And there is some truth to that. But Jordan actually averaged his usual numbers. Really, basketball is just a team sport. And they lost because Orlando was much bigger and deeper than them. Thankfully, the Bulls management knew that too.
Last week, the Bulls announced the acquisition of a player many people consider the most controversial basketball star in the NBA.
They added Dennis Rodman to the team, the best rebounder of all time, and one of the fiercest defensive players ever.
I don't care. Whatever. What's up?
A year before, they also added Steve Kerr, the most accurate three-point shooter ever. And together with a defensive dog, Ron Harper, and Tony Kukoc, who was the most versatile power forward in the NBA, MJ had the best supporting cast in the league.
It's like putting the Avengers together. It's like, okay, Orlando, y'all thought you had our number? Watch us reform.
In the 1996 season, the Bulls were so good that they became only the second team in NBA history to lead the NBA in offensive and defensive rating. And their plus 13.4 net rating is still the best ever. They're 72.
They say the first team to lead in offensive and defensive?
Only the second team in NBA history to lead the NBA in offensive and defensive rating.
Who was the first?
And their plus 13.4 net rating is still the best ever. Their 72-10 record was the best of all time, and of course, Jordan won an MVP.
I love the 72-10 has a better ring to it than 73-9. I'm not a fan of the 73-9 Warriors, as you can tell by the title. I do like that LeBron won that one, but it's a funny joke, man. 72-10 has a better ring to it. That's crazy, dude. Best net rating. Led the league first in offensive and defensive, won 72 games. Like, it's almost like the perfect season.
Averaging.
Oh wait, it was the perfect season because they won.
36-4. As for the playoffs, there was no stopping the Bulls. Only the Sonics in the finals showed any kind of resistance, and Gary Payton was the first defender to have slowed down Michael, but he couldn't beat him, and Chicago won their 4th title, with Michael crying his guts out in the locker room because it was the first championship he won without his father.
Dang.
I'm Pamela Evatt.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely not, man. I'm trying to get emotional over the fact that Jordan won his first chip without his dad, and y'all got this coming on my screen? Absolutely, totally not. Oh my gosh, dude, I'm triggered. I don't know how to edit, guys. I'm sorry. Y'all gonna have to sit. Y'all gonna have to bear. Thank you.
This is for daddy.
That's adorable, dude. Cause like for a grown man to call his dad daddy, like you know their relationship is strong.
Very happy for him.
He's a voice of reason that always drove and challenged me.
Wow.
That's the type of father I have.
Like a friend.
Yeah, like a friend.
This is the kind of context. I'm sorry I keep pausing, but it's important for me as I'm learning. This is the kind of context that's important to me to know, because something that I'll never get to experience this live as it was happening, and that breaks my heart because I don't know the context of the live moment. But this probably touched so many hearts and made this championship so much more powerful, just knowing the context. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say something controversial. You ready? The bubble championship, the Mickey Mouse ring. To me, that one was more emotional, and I know people like to hate on it, but because Kobe Bryant passed away, the fact that the Lakers were able to win in the year that he passed away had so much more meaning to me. I know it's a clown ring. People say it's a Mickey Mouse ring. I don't care, man. I loved Kobe. So just the fact that they could do it to honor Kobe made it that much more emotional. So I love this 4th championship, the context behind it with his dad, the emotion there. It's beautiful.
And when the 1997 season started, the Bulls continued to rule the NBA. With 4 Hall of Famers, the most accurate three-point shooter of all time, and other excellent role players, no team could match up with Chicago. Running the triangle like a well-oiled machine, the Bulls dominated the regular season with 69 wins.
Wow.
And getting to the finals seemed like a walk in the park, as they only lost 2 games in 3 playoff series. But in the finals, it wasn't that easy, because they played the formidable duo of Stockton and Malone and the Utah Jazz. This series would be remembered by the infamous flu game, where Jordan suffered from food poisoning and had a fever before the pivotal Game 5 when the series was tied. But Jordan played through the illness and managed to squeeze every atom of strength to score 38 points, and the Bulls won.
It feels like every finals he had a really iconic thing come up. Like beating the Lakers is just iconic. The Clyde Drexler's better than me. No, I'm going to outshoot him from 3 and shrug on him. The Charles Barkley's better than him. No, I'm going to outplay him. His dad passing away for the 4th one. And now this one.
And managed to squeeze every atom of strength to score
the flu game.
38 points, and the Bulls won.
Amazing.
90-88. In Game 6, Jordan trusted Steve Kerr with the final shot, and Kerr hit a jumper for the win in the final seconds.
Crazy. It's crazy that happened twice in MJ's career, with Paxson and Steve Kerr. Like, the fact that, again, it shows the growth that I don't always have to take the last shot like he did earlier in his career. Like, it almost seems like he learned to become a better teammate, a better passer, and I love that growth mentality.
However, when the 1998 season started, the Bulls were running on fumes. Pippen had injury problems and disputes with management, and Rodman was more reckless than ever. But they still had Michael. Even though he wasn't as athletic as before and his efficiency decreased, Jordan was still capable of winning games by himself. The Bulls finished with 62 wins despite Pippen missing half the season, and that's why Jordan was named NBA MVP for the 5th time. In the playoffs, the Bulls
should have won like 9 or 10 of them.
Bulls survived the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Finals, winning Game 7 by 5 points. And then, in the finals, Utah awaited again, hungrier than ever. In a tough defensive series where neither team scored 100 points, Jordan proved his clutch factor once again, hitting arguably the most famous
the steal and the shot
in NBA history over Byron Russell.
Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead.
Crazy.
6 championships in 8 years, with 6 awards for the Finals MVP, and Jordan achieved basketball immortality.
He hit the shot, man. Is what I'm saying. The context of every finals has something immensely iconic about it.
And if this is the final chapter, what a way to close the book.
After 1998, Jordan retired for the second time, which was the end of his prime, and we can sum up his career with the Bulls in 3 parts. The first part being between 1984 and 1990, when he was easily the most athletic player in the NBA, a scoring machine beating players with speed and leaving defenders stuck in the mud. But basketball is a team sport, and Jordan didn't have enough quality teammates around him, and those who he did have, he didn't trust. The second part was the first three-peat, when he slowed down a bit and wasn't going 100 miles per hour on every possession. MJ was then physically stronger, he became a master of all facets of the game, improved his shot, and started trusting his teammates.
Imagine being able to build an app with your
absolutely
name
not.
on it, just by thinking about it.
Skip.
And then came the second three-peat, where the Bulls had the deepest and most versatile team in the NBA. The Bulls with Pippen, rookie Kukoc, and Kerr won 55 games in the 1994 season, and they played without Jordan, Rodman, and Harper, who was maybe the most underrated teammate MJ ever had. When they all got together in 1996, it was game over for the league.
Yeah, man.
But having good teammates is essential to winning in the NBA.
So,
most under 4 season, and they played without Jordan, Rodman, and Harper.
Without Jordan, Rodman, and Harper, they won 55 games. How do y'all feel about that?
Who was maybe the most underrated teammate MJ ever had.
Look, I'm not saying that the Bulls didn't need those guys, because clearly they did to win, because they didn't win those years. But 55 wins is crazy. I think it just shows you how good these teammates were and how perfect this team was.
When they all got together in 1996, it was game over for the league. But having good teammates is essential to winning in the NBA, especially when you're past your physical prime. Jordan lost a chunk of his quickness during the second three-peat, but that's like when a Ferrari loses 100 horsepower. It's still faster than almost anything else on the road. And that answers the question, how good was Michael Jordan actually? Even when he wasn't at his best, Jordan was still the best player in the league. If you divide his career into 3 parts, each part would suffice for a Hall of Fame career. In his first 6 seasons, Jordan didn't win a ring, but he was the most electrifying athlete the NBA had ever seen, with unreal stats and winning all possible accolades. The first three-peat was Jordan at his best, showcasing a level of basketball that's rare and few, if any, have touched. And with his second three-peat, the Bulls won 72, 69, and 62 games in the regular season, and capped it off with 3 championship rings, losing just 13 games in 12 playoff series from 1996 to 1998. The only season of his career where Jordan wasn't the best player in the league was probably just his rookie season. Jordan was the best player in the world for over a decade, something that can be said only of 3 other players, Wilt, Kareem, and LeBron. But while Kareem's individual and team accomplishments are similar to MJ's, Jabbar wasn't the best player on his team for 3 of his 6 championships, and he only has 2 Finals MVPs compared to Jordan's 6. Wilt's scoring
the big gap
numbers from the 60s were impossible to reach even for Jordan, but he only won 2 titles and was constantly losing to Bill Russell. And finally, there's LeBron, who might be the most complete basketball player ever, and due to his longevity, he is the statistical GOAT. But LeBron only has 4 titles and has lost 6 times in the finals, including the 2011 dud against the Mavs, where he played a catastrophic series that cost Miami the championship.
JJ Barea will forever be my least favorite player of all time.
And that's something that never happened to Jordan. And because of his decade of dominance, a 6-year-old...
I will say though, context has been very important in this video. So let's provide some context for LeBron losing 6 finals. 2015, he lost Kyrie and Love. Do y'all blame him for losing? His stats were unreal. He averaged like 35, 12, and 12. 2017, 2018, Kevin Durant ruined the NBA for me for a little bit, so don't even talk to me about those years. But those 3 to me annoy me so much. That's why I don't like the finals record talk. Because I feel like 2015, 2017, and 2018 was just like a parallel universe, and it just didn't feel fair, but it still happened, so whatever, man. It still happened. It happened, man. There's nothing we can do about it.
Record in the finals with 6 finals MVPs and the biggest impact on NBA popularity worldwide, it's hard to say that Jordan wasn't the greatest player to ever touch a basketball.
You're right about that.
Speaking of Jordan, we've got another video about him and Pippen you simply can't miss.
It is hard to say he's not the GOAT. I feel like now that I have the context that I haven't had because I've never done the deep dive, it is really hard to say he's not the GOAT. The context matters, dude. I'm fine putting LeBron at number 2. I know for some people that's even controversial, but I'm genuinely okay after watching this saying that Jordan's number 1. The context of like him coming into the league, averaging 30 points per game almost immediately, winning. I think he should have won more MVPs. I think 5 was underplaying it for Jordan. I don't really know why that happened. Is there a reason? Like, do y'all know? Were they just tired of giving him MVPs and they're like, nah, you're not getting this one this year? I mean, I feel like that's what happened with Bron. He only has 4, but I feel like he should have a bit more. Jordan should have at least 10. Bron should have at least like 8 or 10. I don't know. Long story short, man, I'm cool putting Jordan as the GOAT. If y'all are going to go in the comments and clown me saying I'm a Bron fan, you don't know how I can love Bron. Dude, LeBron and Kobe are what got me into the NBA, and I'm not going to apologize for that. Never, ever, 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 ever. It is cool, though, to learn more about Michael Jordan. He is the GOAT, okay? You're hearing it here from a LeBron fan. He's the GOAT, okay? I've seen the context. His story is amazing. Everything to do with the first three-peat, beating the bad boy Pistons finally, his dad passing away and the emotion behind that, the retirement, coming back a step slower, but he's still the best player in the league. They didn't talk about the Wizards years. I am curious why they left that part out. I guess it wasn't necessary for the video, but hey, man, Jordan's the GOAT. And if y'all stuck through me with these 40 minutes of video, big round of applause to you. Thank you to all the people who recommended this video. It genuinely taught me a lot. Y'all are right. Watching highlights ain't enough. I needed the context. So let me know if there's other videos I should check out. Someone told me to watch The Last Dance, which I don't remember when that came out, but I didn't watch it, and I should have. I should have watched it. So let me know if I should check out The Last Dance. Those are longer. So, like, low-key, I don't know if my computer can handle that big of an upload, but we'll see, man. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Let me know if you want to have a cool conversation down in the comments. Don't just spam hate and internet brain rot of, like, LeBron sucks, Jordan's the GOAT, you're an idiot for liking LeBron. I'm not an idiot for liking LeBron, man. I'm not, and I won't apologize for it. Thanks, everybody, for watching. If you think Michael Jordan is the GOAT, why don't you go ahead and tell me in the comments. We can have a conversation about it, because I agree with you. But yeah, man, have a great day or night or whatever time of day it is for you. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Doses!